Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Earth Game Podcast. I am your host, Monica, and on this podcast, we talk about pretty much anything that can help you along your journey through this game that we call life here on beautiful planet Earth. No matcha today. I'm drinking an herbal tea. This is mint and sage because Mother Nature has graced me with her presence this morning. I actually planned on filming this podcast yesterday and editing it, uploading it, making my shorts and everything. And I had many technical difficulties and it just did not work out for me. So here we are. And I'm really excited about this week's topic. I actually didn't have this topic on the schedule. I had asked you guys over on my Instagram last week, what do you want me to talk about? What are some topics? What are some questions that you have? And I got a really, really good question that I'll share later in the episode because it goes with something that I'm going to be talking about later. But on this episode, I want to talk about the 10 things in the modern world that are making you tired, sick, and unhappy. Because the fact of the matter is that we live in a world where people are eating fake food, they have fake friends, they're living a fake life, and they wonder why they feel like shit. If you're not doing the things that you're naturally supposed to be doing, I think that people forget that the way that we are divinely designed, if we do the things that are supposed to make us feel good, we're gonna be the best versions of ourselves. And because we live in this modern world, we don't realize that these things are adding to our stress, adding to our exhaustion, not only for your body, but also mentally for your mind and for your spirit and for your soul. And all of these things, that's the actual true outlook of holistic health, is aligning all of these things. In our modern world, there's just so much that we're overburdened with, and that's why so many people are so exhausted all the time. That's why people feel like they're not fulfilled in life, because they're so out of alignment with what nature has given us that we're supposed to be doing. So we're going to go over these 10 things. I actually had an order for the podcast for this episode, and I changed the order. And I feel like everything flows into itself because all these things are connected. It's not just, one thing that you do for yourself is going to change one thing within your life. It's all connected. Every change that you make impacts something else, whether it be your hormones, whether it be your sleep or food or whatever it is. So first thing on the list, and again, this is not in any particular order of importance. These are all very, very important and they should all be prioritized in your life if you want to live a life of true health, true wealth, true fulfillment, true abundance, and true alignment, okay? So first thing on the list is not going outside and not being in nature. That meme that is online that is go touch grass, it's real. It's so real. You're getting vitamin D, you're breathing in fresh air, you're getting free electrons when you put your feet in the bare grass. And we were not designed to sit in a house all day or to sit in a box, in a cubicle, in a car, in wherever we are most of the time. We're designed to be a part of nature, right? The earth, the planet that we live on, is our home, if you will. Yes, we have homes and dwellings that we love, but if you don't go outside and if you don't get the sun on your skin, that is responsible for so many biological and mental processes, then of course you're not going to feel good. I mean, it's just literally a no-brainer. So I highly recommend, even if you're super busy, all of these things that I recommend in this episode, you can implement. If you have time to scroll on your phone, if you have time for Netflix, if you have time to talk to somebody on the phone, you have time to do all of these things, okay? So even just making 5 to 10 minutes a priority when you wake up to get outside, to breathe the fresh air, to not look at your phone, and to just be in nature and to just allow nature to do what it's supposed to do. Allow yourself, you are a part of nature, to get into connection with yourself. And I promise, the more time that you spend outside, the more time that you immerse yourself in nature, you don't have to be a tree hugger or a nature freak or whatever it might be. But the fact of the matter is that we heal in nature. So as much time as you can spend outside, especially if you have kids, they should be outside. They should be running around, breathing in the air, letting their immune system get boosted from all of the benefits that nature gives us. So that's number one. Number two on the list, along the same lines, on the opposite end of the spectrum, is too much screen time, too much time on social media, and especially too much comparison. Keep in mind that social media was designed, yes, it is great in so many ways, but social media was designed just for us to be able to share what we want to share. And a lot of times, the more hours that you're spending on your phone, and especially on social media, or maybe even watching Netflix or on TV, all of these things are curated, and we as humans, our brains cannot help but to make these comparisons and to make these judgments, because that's just what our brains do. And the more that you spend watching somebody else's happiness or life or journey, the more that you're going to start comparing yourself, the more that you're just going to start really beating up on yourself about where you are in life. And even if you have a lot of inspiration, motivation, education, really good things that you're gaining from social media, you have to really be mindful of, okay, am I neglecting actually living my own life? Am I neglecting chasing after my dreams? Because it can be really fun to connect with others online. And trust me, I understand. I work on social media and I do all of my work online. So I totally understand. Sometimes you can't get away with it, especially like if you're in school and you have to be on your devices. But look at the time that you're spending on screens and on social media that is outside of what is necessary for you, that is outside of what is required. And ask yourself, first of all, do you even remember any of the things that you saw on social media? Those reels that you're scrolling or TikTok that you're scrolling on, do you even remember what you watched? Because chances are, majority of the things that you consumed, you couldn't repeat. And when you're on your deathbed, you're not going to care about the reels or the TikToks that you watched. You're going to wonder why you didn't go do the things. Or if you did do the things, you're going to look back and be so happy that you did, right? So take a look if you're unhappy with your life, or if you just feel like you don't have that lust for life, it's probably because you're consuming way more than you're allowing yourself to create in your life. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be a content creator, but all I'm saying is take a look at the time spent observing other people and watching other people live their life versus pouring into your life, pouring into your dreams and your goals and aspirations. Because a lot of times we can get really stuck in the trap. And remember that all these apps and all of these ads and everything, they're designed to gain your attention. And once you give your attention up to these things, then it's going to suck you in if you're not consciously aware of it. I notice when I scroll, in the back of my mind, I'm like, hey, you're scrolling. Make sure that you don't do this for a very, very long time. Hey, you're scrolling. You have X, Y, and Z to do. Hey, you're scrolling. Is this going to inspire you and motivate you and make you want to go take action? Or is this going to make you feel like shit about yourself? Because there's a very, very important distinction there. And when you get caught up in this trap, a lot of times you also slip into the trap of scrolling before you go to sleep or watching something as you fall asleep, like Netflix or something, and then waking up and getting on your phone first thing. And not only are you allowing all of those thoughts and things to consume your brain and your mind rather than setting intentions for yourself, choosing the life that you want to live, but you're also looking at that blue light and the radiation that is getting taken in by your eyes, by your face even. And that's not good. That's going to disrupt your hormones. That's going to disrupt your circadian rhythm. And all around, it's going to zap your energy. Like, it is literally going to drain your energy. Now, I know it's easier said than done sometimes. I have found myself scrolling before bed, scrolling when I wake up. But I promise you, if you allow yourself to take however long it is that you need to take, right? Maybe at first, if you're really, really stuck in this, just do 5 to 10 minutes. Silent time, and allow yourself to think about what it is that you want for your life. And then if you've already mastered that, then go a little bit longer, 30 minutes, an hour, and just be with yourself. Now that we have the internet and we have these devices that we pretty much cannot live without, life as we know it is only going to keep moving in that direction. So it's really, really important that before we continue on this reliance of technology, because we do have a reliance on technology, we have a reliance on the internet, and there's so many great things about that. And also at the same time, you gotta understand that you are in charge of your life. No one's gonna tell you you're on your phone too much. Nobody's gonna tell you, hey, your circadian rhythm is disrupted. You have to be the one to do that for yourself. So highly, highly, highly recommend either put your screen time on your home screen where your phone will show you this is how many minutes and hours you've been spending on your screens every single day. You can put timer limits on your apps. You can just simply put your phone in a different room or further away from your bed so that you're not tempted to just roll over and scroll. And I promise, just even within a couple days, you're going to notice so many different shifts. So many different shifts. Personally, for me, my time when I wake up and before I go to bed, that's my peaceful time. That's my time to set my own intentions. That's my time to reflect and to really decide what is it that I am consciously creating for my life, because those are the times where your subconscious mind is wide open. Those file cabinets that your brain is putting together subconsciously, all of that is open and susceptible to any sort of programming. So everything that you watch, everything that you listen to, and everything that you are absorbing in that time, that is going to create your life. I heard this really good metaphor one time where somebody said that when you get on your phone and you get on social media right when you wake up, it's like letting all of these people into your home. And I totally agree. But even more so than that, you're letting all of that into your brain. And again, if you are just allowing that to happen, then of course you're not going to be happy. Of course you're not going to be healthy, and you're not going to be fulfilled in life because you are not taking the time to consciously decide what you want to do with your life, the kind of person that you want to be, the aspirations that you have, the goals, and how to achieve them. And that is one of the most important things for our own sense of purpose and fulfillment and overall health, honestly. So that is number 2. Now, bleeding into number 3 is sleep, disruption, hormone health, and circadian rhythm. This is a huge reason why people are feeling so unhappy, so tired, exhausted, sick, because your body has a natural cycle every single day. The reason why the sun is so important for us is because it sets our circadian rhythm, which also impacts our hormone health. And if you've been paying attention in the health and wellness space right now, there's so much talk, especially for women, about hormone health, because again, all these systems and all of these parts of our health are very interconnected, and it's the most divine design that as long as you know how to tap into it and give yourself what you need, that's when everything gets better. Every single part of your health, every single part of your life, it just starts getting better. When you do not allow yourself to get adequate rest, and rest in the way that actually allows your body to rest. What I mean by that is if you're scrolling before you go to sleep and when you wake up, that's not going to give you the best rest. If you have a lot of screen time during the day, again, I understand some things are necessary, but outside of what's necessary, are you combating that? Because if you're not, it's going to disrupt your sleep. Some other really good things to do are turn your lights off. You can either get red light, you can get a sunset lamp, you can get those pink Himalayan salt lamps, or you can just have dimmer lamps in your home once the sun goes down, especially in these colder months that we're in right now, if you're in the northern hemisphere, because the days are shorter for a reason. This is the time seasonally for us to make sure we are reflecting and resting and doing all the things we need to do to have that energy that sustains us. So if you are waking up, looking at your phone, immediately reacting, looking at the news, thinking how everything is going to shit, all these terrible things are happening, you're not even allowing yourself to be grateful, to be excited, to be inspired, to be motivated, any of those things, of course you're not going to feel good. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer to me. What makes you think that you would feel good if you're just taking in all of this negativity? Just doesn't really make any sense. If you think about it, the connection between sleep, circadian rhythm, and especially hormone health can be one of the biggest indicators of how healthy we are because it leads to our reproduction. Reproduction is one of the highest priority indicators of where your health is. Are you able to continue life on? Because if you're not, if your hormones are out of whack, if your circadian rhythm is out of whack, and you cannot reproduce, that is a telltale sign that your body is signaling to you, hey, we got to figure this out. Something is off here because you're not able to do what you were designed to do. Now, that doesn't mean you have to want to have kids. That's not the conversation I'm talking about. I'm talking about simply from a biological standpoint, is your body healthy enough to carry on life as we know it, life as we were designed to, right? So, tips for sleep. Number 1, screens. I already went over that. Number 2, I really, really love having my own quiet time and just thinking about the day that I had, thinking about what it is that I feel I accomplished really well, things that I have to put on my list for the next day or the next upcoming days. And I love taking magnesium at night. A lot of people don't know this, but magnesium has many different forms. The most common like magnesiums you see like influencers posting and stuff, they actually just have like one or a couple forms of magnesium. I learned about this amazing supplement that I absolutely love, and it has all the forms of magnesium in it. So I take that before I go to sleep. And then I also have this magnesium spray, and I spray it on the bottoms of my feet. And I just get into bed. I let it all digest. I let it all soak in. And after about 10, 15, 20 minutes, I'm the type of person where I don't fall asleep as soon as I get into bed. Some people are like that, others are not. If you're not, it's okay. Just remember that you might need a little bit of extra time when you're going to bed, and allow yourself to have that time to wind down. And every night I get super excited to take my magnesium and spray it on my feet because the way that I feel, magnesium helps really relax your body. And magnesium is also a really important electrolyte that is responsible for many different functions. Actually, if you are in a very stressful circumstance or situation, or you find yourself worrying a lot, your electrolytes tend to get depleted first. So if you are working on nervous system regulation, magnesium is also really incredible for that. But when I take magnesium at night, I just get so relaxed. I also take CBD. I have some discount codes for the brands that I use that I love them. So I'll leave them in the show notes down below. But that combination for me is just elite. So those are the things I recommend for sleep. And along with hormone health, especially for women, making sure that you are eating enough. If you're not eating enough, that might lead to you being extra tired. You might need to sleep more because you need more energy. Your body needs to carry out processes that it can't carry out. So along the lines of hormone health, making sure that you're eating enough and making sure that you're staying active. I know that sometimes when we're super tired and when we have a lot going on, we sometimes put exercise on the back burner. But if you don't move your body, all this energy is going to become stagnant. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. But allowing your body to do what it needs to do every single day, as in exercising and moving it and letting your circulation work, letting all the things happen in your body that exercise is amazing for, that will also help you sleep better. And that's why I'm saying all of these things go together, right? So that is sleep, hormone health, circadian rhythm. And if you have to be on devices at night, at least get some blue light blockers to protect your eyeballs. The light's still going to hit your face, but at least with your eyes are directly connected to your brain, and at least you could protect your eyes if you just have to be on screens. Number 4 should come as a surprise to absolutely no one if you know me. Number 4 is dehydration. This is something that I learned many years ago when I was on my holistic healing journey overcoming lymphedema, and I started learning about what happens to your body and to your brain when you are dehydrated. And it really opened up my whole world because I was just clueless about this. And I know sometimes it really sucks for me to say this and for people to hear this, but if you're not drinking medical grade electrolyzed reduced water, you are more than likely not properly hydrated. Even if you're drinking spring water, even if you're drinking alkaline water and all these other different waters that they sell in the store, they are just simply not what your body needs for proper and adequate hydration. Why is that? Because all of the water sources in the world, for the most part, unless you're in places like Norendau, Germany, Lourdes, France, Telacote, Mexico, there's these specific spots in the planet called blue zones that have the water that the earth is supposed to have. Now, springs used to be fantastic, but with all the pollution that is on our planet right now, it's just simply not what it used to be. It's just simply not where we need water to be. And that's why I only recommend the medical device that I have for water, because it's like having your own blue zone in your kitchen. Not all of us can, move to Germany or France or Italy or Mexico or these places, but you can have the best of the best in your home. Matter of fact, I travel with this. This is the only water that I have had for the last 4.5 years. I literally will not drink anything else. And once you have it, you simply cannot go back. And the reason why they created this technology for water was to emulate these blue zones in the world. So it's literally the best of the best. Unless you can go move to those places. But for the most part, people can't. So I highly recommend to every single person can benefit from this water to change your water. If you are interested in learning about financing information, how to get this device, please send me a message on Instagram, because there is truly so much to know about water, so much more than we've been led to believe in the modern day world. And if you think about it, water really should be one of the top priorities, because majority of our body, 70, 80, even 90%, some parts of our body are 90% water. We're not mostly broccoli or kale or green juice or any foods that we eat, which they're still wonderful, right? But the majority of what we should be focusing on is hydration before we go to any diet regimen or any specific protocols that we're starting. If you're not hydrated, that's the foundation of your health. Other things that you do are not going to work. And I learned this firsthand. I learned that due to dehydration, that's why I had edema. That's why I had inflammation and swelling. So anyhow, if you are saving up for your machine, because I get this question a lot, people are like, I'm saving up for my machine. By the way, if you can afford dinner and drinks every weekend, if you can afford having multiple subscriptions for different platforms like Netflix and other things, if you can afford getting your nails done and going shopping, you can afford getting a water machine. It's simply just a matter of where your priorities are. And I'm not here to shame anybody for their choices of where they choose to spend money. However, I hear far too many people complaining about the price of something when it comes to their health, and then I see them spending money on something that just does the opposite. So you really have to put your money where your mouth is if you want to be healthy and if you want to do the things that are going to bring you the most fulfillment in your life. Because if you're not healthy, nothing else matters. Take it from me. That's why the quote is, a healthy man has 99 wishes, an unhealthy man has only one. And if you don't have your health, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because that is the only thing you care about in the moment when you're not feeling good. So, like I said, reach out to me if you want to learn more about this water. I have a free masterclass on my Instagram, and I'll actually leave the link to the masterclass in the show notes as well, so that you can watch that if that's something you're interested in. Now, leading into water, number 5 is diet and processed foods. So with diet and processed foods, the thing is, especially if you live in the US, even if you're eating something that you think isn't that bad, it's way more heavily processed than regular food. And I'm not going to tell you what kind of diet to eat. Most of you guys know that I'm plant-based. I'm not going to tell you what type of diet, but what I am going to say is that whatever you're eating, as much as possible, it should be as close to nature as it has been intended. So if you're going to eat, let's say you're going to eat potato chips, the ingredients should be potato, some sort of healthy oil, not a fake seed oil, right? Something like avocado oil, olive, or coconut. Those are like my top 3, and salt. You don't need maltodextrin. You don't need milk powder. You don't need any preservatives. You don't need any of that trash, okay? But that should be a very, very, very small percentage of your overall diet. And if you are eating, I would say, more than 30% of processed foods every day, you will feel like shit. The reason why people say that you're full of shit is because literally it accumulates in your gut if you're not eating the proper diet. We know that a lot of the neurotransmitters in our brain are actually produced in the gut. So imagine if you're eating foods that are not recognizable by your body, because remember, everything that you eat is information, and the type of data that that food carries is information that your body is then deconstructing and basically trying to understand. Now, if you're eating something that's filled with a ton of gunk, artificial chemicals, artificial flavors, preservatives, fillers, all of that, your body does not know what to do with that because it's not natural. You can't go out in nature and pick up any of these preservatives off of a tree like you can an apple, right? Your body can recognize an apple, but your body can't recognize all these other things. So it's going to accumulate in your system, and it's going to end up making you feel very, very bad every single day. So I highly recommend eating foods as close to nature. Again, I'm not going to tell you what diet. Fruits, vegetables, if you're going to do grains, make sure that you rinse them. That's why I love my 11.5 water, because I always rinse all my food to get any dirt or pesticides or anything off of it. If you're going to eat meat, make sure that you know the person that you're getting it from, or at least you trust the company that is selling it to you. What else? There's so many things: nuts, seeds, any sort of milk, yogurt products, cheeses. Make sure that they don't have a bunch of junk in them, okay? So that's all I'm going to say about diet. Now, what I wanted to say earlier, a lot of people will ask me, like, if I can't drink electrolyzed reduced water, what kind of water should I drink? And I'm just going to tell you guys what I did. I am not a doctor. This is not medical advice. This is just simply what I did when I learned about water and I was saving up to get my machine, is I stuck to fresh, raw juices every single day, and I made them myself. And I know for some people it's like, I don't have time for that, I can't do that. You've got to learn how to make the time, okay? You've got to figure out how, if you want to be your healthiest self, and if you want to start getting hydration into your body and ridding your body of toxins. So I would recommend as close to nature those juices as possible. And I honestly was not drinking water. I know that sounds really bad, but when you learn that bottled water, tap water, and any other filters are acidic, dehydrating you, and don't have any antioxidants like water is supposed to, then it kind of doesn't really make sense to drink them. That's just how I feel personally. You do you, but that is what I always say. That's my advice, because at least you can get nutrients in with fresh juices as opposed to contaminants in water. You get what I mean? So that was number 6, or I'm sorry, that was number 5. Now we're moving on to number 6, which is chronic stress, worry, and a dysregulated nervous system. That is the 6th thing in the modern world that is making us very sick, exhausted, and unhappy. And it's because we, as a collective, have not quite learned how to let things go that need to be let go. Now, there is actually a thing called eustress, which is a good type of stress. This is actually talked about in the Blue Zones documentary, which I loved that series. It's on Netflix. It's called How to Live to 100. And Dan Buettner is the host. He goes to the blue zones in the world, which are places where people are living 100 years or more. And they've been historically documented that all the things that they're doing are exactly what God has intended for us to be the most aligned with nature. And it's crazy that that makes you just feel the best, look the best, and be the happiest. What a freaking concept, right? So anyhow, one of the things that they talked about in the Blue Zones is having a daily challenge or a daily stress that is a problem that you know you can solve and you know that you can overcome. And that sense of fulfillment drives our purpose, and our purpose actually drives our connection. And connection is one of the most important things for our overall health and longevity, because we are a species that thrives on connection. It's actually one of the biggest indicators of how long somebody's going to live based on how much connection they have in their life. And when you do not have challenges that you know how to overcome, or that you know how to solve, you know how to get past, that creates this very dense, negative, overburdensome stress and worry that leads to nervous system dysregulation and a whole slew of problems that come from having that stress. So my biggest tips for this is, number one, learn how to regulate your nervous system. And what that could look like: could it be breathing? Could it be meditation? It could be taking some sort of cold shower. I know that a lot of people don't like to hear that. I love taking cold showers because I swear, and I took a cold shower yesterday in the morning. I typically don't do it when it's my time of the month, but I took a cold shower yesterday, and you just feel like your factory settings are getting reset when you take a cold shower. It's the best feeling ever. Now, if that's a little too far for you, take a shower that's like lukewarm. Don't make it super, super steamy hot. I know a lot of people love that, and that also has its benefits as well. But I'm talking specifically for nervous system regulation here. Take a cooler shower. It doesn't have to be cold, maybe lukewarm. And then at the end, turn it to cold and just see how it feels. Like, allow that uncomfortableness and that resistance to build in your body, and just observe it and see, why is this something that I'm so afraid of? It's literally just cold water. And a lot of people act like it's some lion chasing them and they're about to lose their life. Now, if that's even too much for you, you can do icing. You can ice your face, you can ice your neck, you can ice especially your vagus nerves that are here, which help you calm yourself down. Another way that I love regulating my nervous system anytime I feel like I'm super anxious or stressed or worried is tapping. And I've talked about this before, where you are tapping on the meridian points in your body that naturally calm you down. I'm tapping on all these places. And I actually, when I first learned about this, I was like, yeah, there's got to be something to it. Like, there's got to be these energy points in our body that it's like reflexology, right? But I was like, I'm still going to be thinking about these things that are stressing me out. So how much could it really help? And it's crazy. The first time I did this, it literally felt like my body was super grounded. The energy that builds in your body when you're anxious about something and when you're worried and stressed and you're kind of like frantic and you're like, oh my God, that was gone when I was tapping. And it was really interesting because I still had the thoughts that were contributing to me feeling that way, but the feeling in my body was gone. So highly, highly recommend tapping, along with all of those other things that I just said. And even just reminding yourself, if this is something that is not going to matter in the next few days, in the next few months, something that I'm not even going to remember, then it's not worth stressing over, because worry changes nothing. Worry just puts your focus on the problem as opposed to the solution. And I'm not saying you can't feel things. That's not the point of what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, when you become constantly in a go, 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 constantly worried, constantly fight or flight, that is not how we were designed. That was designed for specific times when we need adrenaline, when we need to be in that state because there's some sort of problem going on that we need to be hyper-focused on getting out of it. And a lot of that comes from, evolutionarily speaking, with predator and prey. And your boss that just told you that you need to come in the office for a meeting, that's not a lion chasing you. That's just a meeting, right? Yes, it might still be a little stressful, but you don't have to act like your life is going to end. So keep in mind to just allow yourself to, if something is really making you nervous, ask yourself, how important is this? And if it's not that big of a deal, just let it go. Just let it go. We're not supposed to have all the answers. We're not supposed to know every single next step, and just let it go. Simple as that. I know sometimes it's easier said than done, but as you practice this, you're going to know what I mean. And that feeling of peace inside when you do allow yourself to let it go opens up a whole new world of possibilities. So that is number 6. Number 7 is something that I feel like we're just learning about more and more now, and that is environmental toxins. We are being bombarded from every single direction with toxins, whether it be in our food, in our water, in the air, the radiation from all the technology and devices every single day. We're finding more and more new environmental toxins, things like nanoplastics and microplastics, that we just simply cannot avoid, but we can help our body to naturally detox, or even more so, to not be exposed to it as much. Now, I talked about water. You can also get an air purifier for your home. With the microplastics, obviously avoiding plastic, using glass as much as you can. And with the radiation, I actually recently learned, so a lot of you guys who know about like frequencies, electromagnetic frequencies, and radiation that's coming from all of our technology and devices and Wi-Fi and everything like that, there's a really big trend right now for silver-lined clothing. If you know MIA, she wrote the Paper Plane song. She recently just came out with her own silver-lined clothing brand. And I actually got some silver-lined clothing last year, I think it was. And I recently learned that, yes, it's amazing for blocking out the radiation from our devices, but it's also blocking out the natural frequencies from Earth and the frequencies that we are supposed to give off to have a coherence with the planet. And this is very, very important. Not a lot of people know this. So there are regular EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies, just like the aura that extends from our body, that is electromagnetic. But there's also non-native electromagnetic frequencies, which is coming from our devices. And the reason why I know this is because recently the company that I'm partnered with that produces the medical water devices, they have come out with an EMF harmonizer. And I am so excited to get this thing because you're going to sleep better. You're going to be able to be on your devices without being bombarded by all these frequencies. But more so than that, you are still in coherence with Earth's frequencies, as opposed to all these silver-lined clothing that completely block everything out. So yeah, you might be blocking the radiation from the devices, but you're also blocking all the frequencies from Earth and your own frequencies from interacting with each other. So again, with these environmental toxins, not all of them we can just completely avoid, but you have to learn how to get less exposure to all of these things. So if you're interested in learning more about the EMF harmonizer, just send me a message on Instagram and I'll share some more information with you, because this is a game changer. There is not any other companies I've seen that have this harmonizing technology, because they've been working on this for over a decade. And I mean, now that AirPods are so popular and all of these wireless Bluetooth devices, it's, again, only going to go further. And yeah, there's so many amazing things about technology, but we have to also be aware of the impact on our health that it has. Okay, so that was number 7. And speaking of environmental toxins, leading us into number 8, which is the overuse of pharmaceuticals and antibiotics. And I want to just give a disclaimer here, because I'm not here to say stop taking medication. You don't ever need to take any medication. I'm not here to tell you what to do. What I simply want you to be aware of is the purpose and the outcome of taking a medication. So for example, a lot of people right now who are on some sort of medication, it's because they have a prolonged or chronic issue that their doctor prescribed a medication for just because of whatever symptoms they were experiencing. Now, that can be very helpful in the short term, and I know that when you're not feeling your best, sometimes you just really, really want something to help you as fast as possible. Trust me, I've been there and I get it. But you have to look at long term. Again, how is your body designed? Your body is not designed to every day wake up and take a pill. That is not what your body is designed to do. And where these medications come from, they're all synthesized from things that are natural, or for the most part, they should be. But we know where that's headed, and I'm not even going to get in that topic. But there is an herb for every single issue that we have. There's an herb for it. There's an infinite amount of things that the earth provides for us naturally that we can utilize. Now, don't get me wrong. We are we have come so far with our medical technology and medication in general, and especially for anyone that has any acute issues or needs to get a surgery out of nowhere immediately, some crazy accident. That's incredible. But what I'm saying is, why would you rely on a pill that's only going to reach the surface of what your problem is, as opposed to figuring out what the deep down root cause is and addressing that so that you don't have the problem at all anymore? What sounds better? What sounds better? Because to me, yes, it might be more work. It might require you to overcome some old habits that you had that weren't the best. But ultimately, it's going to lead to you feeling the best that you've ever felt before. So why wouldn't you do that? You know? That's just my perspective. And a lot of these medications have many side effects, many of which doctors don't even know when they're prescribing or they're not aware of, and they couldn't be because there's just so many different things out there that you cannot possibly foresee how each person is going to react. So you start taking one thing, you have side effects. Oh, let's put you on this other thing to get rid of these side effects. You have new side effects. Let's put you on this other thing. And then next thing you know, you have multiple medications that you don't even know how to pronounce, and they're just making you feel worse every single day. On top of that, going to the side of antibiotics and even a little bit steroids too, those are the things that are prescribed very, very easily, birth control as well for women specifically, without any question of anything else. Now, when we get sick, our body, again, the most divine, intelligent design, knows exactly what to do. We're going to raise the temperature so we can fight off these pathogens, fight off these toxins, virus, whatever it might be. But you go to the doctor and they're like, oh, take this temperature, it reduces your fever. Why would we do that when our body knows exactly what to do? It just doesn't make sense. Now, again, I'm not saying there's not a time and place for all of these different medications. And of course, you are the person that makes the ultimate decision for your life. But again, look long term and ask yourself, where am I going? Is this something that is going to be a sustainable solution for me as years pass? Or should I start looking into other avenues, more natural things that are working in alignment with my body as opposed to against it? Now, speaking of working with your body instead of against it, number 9, and we're getting to the end of the list here, number 9 is a sedentary lifestyle and not moving your body enough. Now, I talked about this a little bit earlier, but yes, so many of us are busy and we're tired and we've got a lot going on. But you might notice that if you're not exercising, that's actually the reason why you're so tired. Our body has all this energy. We are energetic beings, energy and motion. And if we're not utilizing that energy, it's going to get stuck. It's going to get stagnant. And that stagnant energy starts to build up. That can be different emotions that start to get blocked in your body that then manifest as physical symptoms. That can be puffiness, swelling, inflammation, and that is specifically from a sedentary lifestyle. Why? Because your lymphatic system, which is the drainage system in your body, this is like the sewage system, it starts to get clogged. Now imagine if, this is not going to be the best thing to imagine, but imagine if you didn't take the trash out of your home for weeks. All of a sudden, you have all this trash. It's going to start smelling. It's going to start attracting pests, fruit flies. You're not even going to want to walk in the kitchen anymore or wherever the trash is being stored because it's just so nasty, right? And that's the same thing when you don't move your body and when you don't allow every system, especially the lymphatic system, to do its job. Now, why is it that being sedentary or sitting for prolonged periods of time does this? Because in every fold of your body, that's where your lymphatic system is concentrated, in the kneecaps. All of these parts of your body that fold, this is where your lymph system, I mean, it's all over the body, but that's where it concentrates. And so if you're constantly, having this very compressed, tight, not allowing for the flow of everything to happen, then it's going to get stuck. And that's why you might notice feeling a little puffy, feeling a little bit slower, a little bit less energetic, a little bit just like blah, I guess is the best way to explain it, because you're not moving your body. You're sitting too much. You're not doing what your body needs you to do. And guess what else happens when you start moving your body? your circulatory system starts pumping blood to your heart. It gets to your brain. It gets to all the different parts of your body. Wow, all of a sudden you can think clearer, and now your endorphins are active, and now you're happy, and now your mood is boosted. And again, all of these things correlate with each other. So make sure that you are moving your body every single day. I'm not saying you have to go get a gym membership and start lifting weights. Find something you really enjoy. Find something that makes you super excited, that is, again, a good challenge, and that allows your body to sweat and to work and your muscles to contract, and that is just so much fun for you. The more fun you can find in your exercise and movement, the more motivated you're going to do it. If you tell yourself you have to go lift weights and you hate lifting weights, you're not going to want to work out, and then you're not going to move your body, and then that's just a cycle that you keep perpetuating, right? So find something that you enjoy. Maybe you start off with something simple like walking, which is so healthy, and just start doing that. Now we've gotten to number 10, the last thing on the list of things in the modern world that are keeping you exhausted, sick, and unhappy. And that is not following your intuition and not doing what lights you up and brings you joy. And I think that this is one of the least talked about topics in the health and wellness space, simply because it's not something that you can see. It's something that you feel. We've all been there when you had a gut feeling and you didn't trust it, and then something happened and you're like, dang, I should have listened to my intuition. I should have listened to my instincts, right? There's a reason why we have this built-in mechanism. It's literally telling us what to do in every single moment. It's telling us what the next move is. And this is actually what spurred this topic for the podcast, because I got a question on Instagram that was like, how do you know what to do intuitively for your body, for your health? And the simplest answer that I can give is that you practice. You practice listening to your intuition. You practice making decisions. Sometimes those decisions are going to lead you to learning a lesson that may not be the most comfortable or exciting thing in the moment. And other times you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I did that. I feel incredible. That was exactly what I needed, and I want to do it again, right? That is the simplest thing that I can say about your intuition, is just practicing it day in and day out. And if you're in a place where you're like, I am clueless, I don't know what my body wants, I don't know what my intuition is saying, it could be very well that your gut, your like physical gut, is backed up. Again, you want to start moving your body, you want to start hydrating, you want to start eating whole foods, and let the natural detox systems that your body has do its work. And on the other end of that, with the non-physical side, when you wake up in the morning, set aside 5 to 10 minutes of quiet time meditation. I know that everyone can't stand when people say meditate, because it's so annoying that you have to sit there. And I'm not talking about sit there like this, and that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is allow yourself to simply have awareness of your thoughts. That's it. You don't have to chant anything. You don't have to say any affirmations. You're going to give yourself space to listen to yourself. Because how can you follow your intuition if you don't even know what your intuition is saying? You can't. You just can't. So give yourself time. I recommend right when you wake up, this is the easiest time to do it. And give yourself 5 to 10 minutes of quiet and just see what thoughts pop into your head. Don't judge them. Don't try to take immediate action right then and there. Just see what they are and see how it feels. See what comes up with those things, because it could be very uncomfortable. It could be like, wow, I never thought about that. You might have reflected on something that you didn't realize, was an experience that you had. There's an infinite amount of things that will come when you start opening yourself up to listening to your inner guidance. And that's really one of the most important things and ways that we connect with the infinite intelligence that rules all of our lives, which is God. Regardless of how you call it, it is an infinite intelligence. So that's my biggest recommendation to start with. I can give you a couple of examples from my own healing journey when I was overcoming lymphedema. I just knew in the moment that there were some things that I had to do. And they're like these little breadcrumbs that you follow. The first breadcrumb you get, you may not realize that it's going to lead you down this specific path to more of these breadcrumbs. So for me, this looked like I was just learning about how people with different health issues, not lymphedema, were healing naturally. And when I started learning about that, that was my first breadcrumb of just how interesting it was for me as someone who had been diagnosed with something to see other people making changes and getting results from those changes. And when I first learned about this, it wasn't necessarily like, I can heal too. It took me some time after learning that that's what I was interested in, that then I was like, oh, maybe I can do this too, right? So that was one way that I followed my intuition. Another way, you may just hear something and know immediately that it's for you. One of those things for me was when I heard about celery juice, and I just knew I had to do it, which was really funny because I, as a kid, never liked celery. I didn't eat it very often. Just the taste was very off-putting. And for the first month that I started juicing celery, I literally was gagging drinking it, and I had to plug my nose, and I just drank it. But I knew intuitively that it was going to help me. And guess what? To this day, I still drink celery juice. I crave it. The taste doesn't bother me anymore. I love it. And I actually still don't really like eating celery, but I love the juice. And the days that I don't drink celery juice, I really feel a huge difference in my body. Like I really, really do. So start practicing those little breadcrumbs, following those little pieces of little dings that go off, whether it's in the back of your mind or it's a feeling in your body, in your heart, in your stomach. Just start following it and be open and see what happens after that. That's my biggest tip for intuition. Those are my 10 things in the modern world that are keeping you sick, keeping you exhausted, keeping you unhappy, and really keeping you stuck from living your absolute best life. I really, really hope that you guys took something away from this podcast. And thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys next week for our next episode of the Earth Game Podcast.